Now, the second thing they've become upset about, again, wildly overshooting the mark. If they want to hit Trump, they should hit him on the idea that immigrants cannot be judged by their country of origin, right? That's where they should live. They should live right there. But they're too stupid. They can't do it. It's impossible for them. So instead, the media have decided to say that there are no countries that are bleep holes. All countries are fantastic, right? There are none. All the countries are great. If you believe this, ask an expatriate from North Korea whether the country is a bleep hole. Ask an expatriate from Sudan whether they would prefer to go back. I mean, only the left could be this stupid. Seriously, you have to be a moron to fall into this particular trap, saying that there's no such thing as a bleep hole country. But Rich Lowry of National Review, he humiliated Joan Walsh, a CNN contributor, yesterday on the network, specifically asking her, like, you're saying that some countries are not bleep holes. Would you rather live in Haiti with its average income GDP, its average annual GDP per capita at $730 a year, its average life expectancy at 63, its literacy rate at 61%. Would you rather live there or Norway, where the average income is $62,000 a year? And watch Joan Walsh try to run screaming from this question with her hair on fire.
You know, Rich, you're really contradicting what the administration has already said. They have said the reason that they're ending these protections for Haitians and for Salvadorans specifically is that those countries are no longer basket cases and they can go back. Now, so you can't really have it both ways.
You're contradicting yourself then. So if you say they shouldn't go back because they're so dangerous, because they're so violent, which is a left position, you're saying there are basket cases.
I don't have a left position.
They're supposed to be temporary protected status.
Both countries have a lot of problems. And a lot of these people have lived here 10, 12, 17 years. They haven't caused trouble.
Would you rather live in Norway or Haiti?
I didn't actually interrupt you. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't been to either place. Why are you?
I don't know. Like, come on. I don't know. Of course she knows. Are you kidding? Joan Walsh probably wants to move to Norway now. Like, that's absurd. It's absurd. And she's not the only one doing this. The worst, of course, is Stephen Colbert. So Stephen Colbert last night goes on his show, and this is clip 17, and he explains that there are no bleep hole countries except the United States. We're the only one because Trump is president.
This afternoon, he was meeting with lawmakers to discuss immigration policy. Several of these lawmakers suggested lifting restrictions for immigrants from Haiti, El Salvador, and various African countries. Trump reportedly said, why are we having all these people from whole countries come here? Wow. Sir, they're not whole countries. For one, Donald Trump isn't their president.
Okay, stop it right there. The idea that this is going to win Democrats' elections, are they insane? This is going to be their pitch? That Haiti's not a bleep hole, but the United States is a bleep hole because Trump is president? Like, what? This logic escapes me. Again, there's plenty of ways to hit Trump over these comments and plenty of reason to do so. But to live in the nobody's a bleep hole country except for the United States, I mean, good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. Also, there is something a little bit contradictory about the idea that people have to escape bad countries to come here, but we won't label the country bad in the first place, right? So Anderson Cooper yesterday talks about how he's been to Haiti and he's helping Haitian children. It's a great story, but I'm wondering, if Anderson Cooper is making the case that people from Haiti are wonderful, that's fine. But if he's making the case that Haiti is not a bleep hole country, in the sort of common parlance, that it's not a crappy place to live. I mean, obviously it is a crappy place to live, and Anderson Cooper is telling you a story about how crappy a place it is to live. Here he is.
I was there when a young girl named B, who'd been trapped in rubble for nearly a day, was rescued by people who had no heavy equipment. They just had their God-given strength and their determination and their courage. I was there when a 5-year-old boy named Monley was rescued after being buried for more than 7 days. Do you know what strength it takes to survive on rainwater buried under concrete? A 5-year-old boy buried for 7 days. Haitians slap your hand hard when they shake it. They look you in the eye. They don't blink. They stand tall, and they have dignity. It's a dignity many in this White House could learn from.
Okay, so I totally agree with everything that he's saying about Haitians. I know a lot of Haitians who are just wonderful, wonderful people. People who immigrate to this country, by and large, are wonderful people who are coming to make the country better. But if your argument is that Haiti is a great country, Haiti is not a great place to live. Okay, you just talked about a kid who was buried for 7 days under rubble. That doesn't happen in the United States. We don't get that in the United States on a regular basis. We don't have tens of thousands of people who are buried under rubble when an earthquake happens. Because America is a better place to live than Haiti. America is a better country than Haiti. Okay, and I mean that by government. It's a better governed country. And I mean that in terms of whatever cultural attributes lead to a bad governance there. That's not to suggest people can't come from Haiti and be wonderful American citizens. They can. But to suggest there are no differences between countries is just silly. It's just silly. And that's why I'm so bewildered by the tack that the media have chosen to take here. Now, in a second, I'm going to explain where the media are on more solid ground and how they are universal in their condemnation and where there's a possible read that is a little more vague than the one that they are espousing in just a second. First, on matter. People who are suggesting that Trump is a racist. So the list of people in media who are saying that Trump is racist for saying this it's endless, right? It's a very, very long list. So here's just a quick montage of everybody in the media suggesting that President Trump is obviously a racist for the stuff that he said.
The President of the United States is racist.
If it's accurate, it confirms what I've said on this show before. Donald Trump is a bigot.
Yes, he speaks in a racist way.
It just shows that, the president has racist views.
Let's be real clear. This is the most racist, bigoted
Al Sharpton, my God,
comments that we've heard a president make.
But it doesn't make what he said any less ignorant or any less racist. Not racial, not racially charged, racist. Let's not kid ourselves.
This remark by the President of the United States smacks of blatant racism, the most odious and insidious racism masquerading poorly as immigration policy.
This is ignorance. This is ignorance to speak in such vile, racist terms.
We can dance around it and not really put our finger on it, but the president seems to harbor racist feelings about people of color.
Okay, and that last one is Jim Acosta. Of course, Jim Acosta is the White House press correspondent. He's not an opinion guy, right? He's supposed to be the objective news journalist. So there are a few things here. So as I have suggested, it is a plausible read that the President of the United States is saying that people from Haiti cannot properly immigrate to the United States because they are bad people because it's a bad country. That would be racist. Okay, that would be racist. It would be stupid. To say that he harbors, feelings of animosity for people of color as a whole, I think would be a little bit too broad, considering that in the same article it says that he wants more people to come in from countries like South Korea. That's full of Asian people who are not white. But that said, yes, this is I'm not going to pretend it's not a plausible read. It is a plausible read. Mia Love, who's the daughter, I believe, of Haitian immigrants, she tweeted out her statement on this. She said, "The president's comments are unkind, divisive, elitist, and fly in the face of our nation's values. This behavior is unacceptable from the leader of our nation. My parents came from one of those countries, but proudly took an oath of allegiance to the United States and took on the responsibilities of everything that being a citizen comes with. They never took a thing from our federal government. They worked hard, paid taxes, and rose from nothing to take care of and provide opportunities for their children. They taught their children to do the same. That's the American dream. The president must apologize both to the American people and to the nations he so wantonly maligned." Okay, so I think that this is a perfect statement. Honestly, I think that what Mia Love says here is essentially correct. You come here, you work hard, you play by the rules, you assimilate, you get involved in the American dream. Anyone who does that should be able to come in. And if what Trump is saying is that people should not be able to come in based on their country of origin, that's silly. Okay, that's silly. It's not just silly, it's racist. It actually is racist, and it is bigoted. But there's another plausible way to read what Trump is saying, right? The other plausible way to read what Trump is saying is for him to be saying what I said earlier, which is that if you are going to judge people alone by their country, which you should not, but that's what the Diversity Visa Lottery program does. If you're going to judge people's merit based on just country of origin, you cannot pretend that all countries of origin are equally likely to produce the same level of assimilatable citizens. That would just be silly. It's obviously untrue. And the data support this. Right? There's a study from the Institute for the Study of Labor, December 2009. Ruth Uwaifo Oyelere of Georgia Institute of Technology and Maharuf Oyolala, the University of Vermont. And here are their findings. Okay, their findings are, although immigrants from South America, Canada, Oceania, and Europe use any form of welfare at the same rate as U.S.-born immigrants from Asia, Africa, Central America, and U.S. protectorates, those ones use welfare more. So if you're an immigrant from Asia, Africa, Central America, or U.S. protectorates, you use welfare more. And then they actually analyzed to see whether this was just based on the level of poverty that people are when they come over to the United States, if it's based on family size. They say, we reject the hypothesis that welfare usage is identical across immigrants and U.S.-born, and also reject the related hypothesis that welfare usage is identical for immigrant groups. This result suggests that welfare usage is not affected by solely economic and standard demographics. This implies that culture, value, network information, or institution of groups might have a significant role to play in individuals' choice to use welfare. Culture, values, network information, and institutional background were not controlled for in our probability model and may explain the differential welfare usage across group despite controlling for the standard economic and demographic variables that should predict welfare usage. birthplace matters for welfare usage in the U.S. This is their conclusion. Birthplace matters for welfare usage in the U.S. Now, that's not, again, to imply that where you were born means that inevitably you're going to use welfare. That's silly and racist. It doesn't mean that as individuals we can judge you based on your country of origin. It does mean that if you are going to say, we get to now take in 10,000 immigrants, those 10,000 immigrants are either going to come from South Korea or they're going to come from Russia, right? An Asian country, or they're going to come from with a history of Western civilization, or Russia, where there is very little history of Westernization, right? Which one are you going to choose? And you can only choose one. You're just going to do it based on the country description. Then you would probably say, I'd want the South Korean citizens and not necessarily the Russian citizens if you were going to create a hierarchy of people who are able to assimilate easily in the United States. That's not a rip on individual Russians. My ancestors were from Russia. My great-grandparents came over from Lithuania, right? The idea that it doesn't matter at all where you came from in terms of the average, if you're doing it simply by numbers, is obviously not true. But the idea that you can judge individuals based on this is racist, right? This is the same thing as saying that the black crime rate in the United States is higher than the white crime rate in the United States. This is true. But it is racist to say that a black person, this black individual right here, is going to commit crime because he is black, right? That's not the same thing. And that distinction is important. You can say that on average, people who come from sub-Saharan African countries are going to have a tougher time integrating and assimilating into the United States than people coming from Great Britain. But that's not racist. But it is racist to say this particular person from Sudan cannot assimilate because they're from Sudan. That's racist, okay? So that distinction makes a difference. And I don't know that Trump knows enough to actually make that distinction. I don't know if he does. Maybe he doesn't. I mean, the implication, as I've said before, his history shows that he said stuff like a Mexican judge, meaning a judge who is descended from Mexican parents, right, can't properly judge his case because they're Mexican. Like, there are cases where Trump has sounded really bad and racist. And if you read these comments in the context of those comments, it's hard to avoid the conclusion the media want you to draw. But I would like more evidence on what actually happened in this conversation, because all I'm hearing is secondhand. I don't have a full transcript in front of me, and I am shy of jumping on the media's account of a secondhand conversation that was being related by Democrats. I think that to do that would be unfair. I hope that I would hold the same standard for the Obama administration or for any other politician, for that matter. So, again, should Trump have said this? No. Should he clarify what he meant? Absolutely. Should he walk it back as much as he can? He absolutely should. But the left's suggestion that there's no such thing as a bleep hole country is silly. The left's suggestion that they're angry because he cursed is silly. And the left's suggestion that the only way to read that comment is simply in terms of Donald Trump is saying that every immigrant from Haiti is bad because they're black. I think that requires a logical jump, at least. Maybe that jump is real. Maybe that's what Trump is thinking. But there's a lot of mind reading going on, and I think that mind reading is not necessarily